Hey everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What is shaking on your Friday night? And we are rocking here already. People all over the place, people saying hi. I can't remember the order that I clicked these remarks in, so I'm just going to put them up on the screen. Tonight I'm going to tell you about the legendary actor, Peter Sellers. It's a wild story. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. But first, let's just go ahead and say like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all those very free things that won't cost you a farthing that you can do for this show that help us out with the algorithm, the almighty, all-powerful, all-seeing algorithm. We really, really appreciate all of the super chats and memberships that you can spare. After all, we've got Only Following Cows here, who has become a YouTube member right out of the gate, and we do appreciate that. Also, turn on those gifted memberships. Sometimes people gift them, and when they do, you can get gifted memberships for exclusive members-only content. Like tomorrow, I will be going over some of the highlights from the podcasts that are over on my website that have no video attached to them at all, so you won't have to look at my face for much of them. Let's see. People saying hi. We do have the most cheerful chat room on the internet, as verified by independent sources. Terry Nee apparently has to go. I don't know where. I don't know why. It's none of my business. I don't know why he would bother telling us that. Rumple Trenchcoat says, evening, folks. Oh, Terry's left $1, so I take back all criticisms. Yes, I can be bought, and yes, for cheap. Let's see. Rumple Trenchcoat here. Rumple Trenchcoat will be on this very program Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern, and we will be talking Columbo. Stanley Cross was in here, too. I want to mention Stanley versus the World comes on about 2 a.m. Eastern time over at the Urban Landlord, on YouTube. And, man, if you want to see one man take on the world, you can do so each and every evening. Doc Thorne says there is no comment session, only chaos. People saying hi. People saying hi. Let's see. Reno Hightower, I've already read the end of this joke, so I'm going to go ahead and approve it. I always wanted to start an all-male escort service and call it Peter Sellers. Well, if you did that up in Canada, it could be called Peter North. Gene1313 said, hey to the best chat and the best host YouTube has to offer. That's the nicest thing ever. Thank you so much for saying that. Doc Torn says, hey, yo, Gene1313, people saying hi. Terry Nee bestowing us with 5 Tom Gully show memberships. And I guess maybe he was joking about having to go elsewhere. I don't know anymore. I know he has the door with the squeak to deal with. Yay, Gene is here. Yes, Dupa's going, like, can we get some other ladies in here? Ariana may be in later on. Stanley Cross says, hey, Dupa. Everybody's saying hi to Dupa. Rumple Trenchcoat, woohoo. By the way, roller skater Texas girl. If anybody sees her or anybody runs into her, or certainly if she runs in here, I gave her the email address. There's a place nearby that I can drop by. It's a retail environment, a brightly lit public area. It's very convenient. So anyway, let me see. Terry Nee says, gotcha, Lemme. Apparently, Lemme got a membership. Well, I don't know how popular this show is in the Lemme household, but if she's watching and anybody's watching, thanks for being here. Gene1313 says, hey. There you go. Lemme got a membership. Doc Torn says, now Tom can afford supper. I can afford supper. It's the sodas that I can afford all those things. I'm trying to not have to work anymore for my current employer. You wouldn't want to either. I'm just kidding. Terry Nee says 6-pack of kids soda. More like those little juice boxes. Right now, I do have one though. And I need it. I always feel like Friday You know, you see a guy break the tape after running a marathon. That's what we're doing on Friday. We're breaking the tape. We made it. We made it. We actually made it. Wow, I can almost start talking about Peter Sellers here. Before I start talking about Peter Sellers, I'd like to refer you to the Grauman's Chinese Theater. Peter Sellers, I try when I can to do a thematic background. Let's see, is that what them Coke Zeros are for? Well, in this case, it's a Mountain Dew Zero. It's got a little more caffeine in it because I need it. I need it bad. Hold on a sec. I go to all the trouble. I feel like I need to get the production value. The perks of the production value. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Peter Sellers. If you've ever seen Inspector Clouseau on the Pink Panther movies, then you know about him. I don't think that's his crowning achievement, however. I will tell you two things about Peter Sellers to keep in mind as we discuss him. Number one, brilliant performer. I'm not talking about, people throw that around lightly. I'm talking about performances that are just amazing. A brilliant man who really put himself into his characters. Second thing, that kind of ability to do that may have affected other parts of his life, which made them extremely weird and unstable. There you go. That's the best way I can put it. Our good friend here, Peter Sellers, he was born over there in England back in 1925. His parents were actually performers themselves, variety entertainers. So his parents were people that could sing, they could dance, they could act. His mother was in a kind of a famous troupe over there. And his real name was not Peter. It was Richard Henry, but they called him Peter after his oldest brother, his elder brother, who was stillborn. So it was kind of an homage to his older brother. He didn't have any other siblings. He was an only child. And he was 2 weeks old when he made his stage debut. And that's not a joke. He was 2 weeks old, a baby, when the headline act at the King's Theatre in Southsea caused one of the performers to bring him on stage. So there it was. Now, the family was constantly on tour. I mean, constantly on tour, which was a destabilizing effect in his life. And another thing was, and this is according to a famous British comic who we'll touch upon in just a few minutes, named Spike Milligan. According to Spike Milligan, Peter Sellers was like almost unnaturally close to his mother. Very close relationship, which he considered unhealthy for Peter Sellers. The Peter Sellers agent, when he first met Peter Sellers, the mother was there. And that Peter Sellers himself, and countless people have recounted this aspect of Peter Sellers. He was very shy, almost inwardly shy, almost painfully shy. And his mother was pretty domineering, but not in a way that Peter Sellers outwardly showed or seemed to bristle toward. And as a child, an only child, on tour with his parents, he spent a lot, and I mean a lot, of time alone. And although the family didn't have a lot of money, Peter Sellers had a mother who insisted that he go to a very expensive private school. And Peter Sellers was confused by Catholicism, especially since he was Jewish. But he went to a school that was Catholic, and he discovered that he himself was not particularly interested in religion or what he described as mysteries of the faith. Um, he felt not only this Jewish guilt, he was once reduced to tears when someone gave him a candlestick from a synagogue for Christmas while he was at school, because he thought this was anti-Jewish. It turns out it wasn't. It was actually quite thoughtful. He was one of, if not the top students at this school. And, he sometimes could be lazy, but he was so naturally talented. The teachers were like, no, this kid's brilliant at everything. We'll put up with a little laziness. And once teacher scolded the other boys at this Catholic school by saying, this Jewish boy knows his catechism better than the rest of you. So he was a good student. He would go on the road with his family on this variety show tour circuit. He learned all the aspects of stagecraft from his parents. But see, his dad didn't think he was going to make an actor. He's like, you're not good enough to sweep a road. You're just, whatever. But his mother encouraged him like nonstop. She was very much into the notion that Peter Sellers would be a great actor. And he went to a nearby college for a while and developed a lot of improvisational skills. And he was born in 1925. So when he was in 15 years of age, it was 1940. Radio was huge. And he listened to tons and tons and tons of radio programs and apparently became quite a mimic. He could copy you like that instantaneously. If he heard you speak for a few minutes, he had you down pat. So the Second World War breaks out, and the college he was going to gets evacuated to another part of the country. And his mommy said, I'm not letting you go to the new place where the college is. That's how domineering she was. So that's where his education ended. And he got a job at the theater, became sort of a caretaker janitor type, and steadily got promoted: box office clerk, usher, assistant stage manager, lighting operator. And he got a few small acting parts and the ability to study with and just study some of the best actors at the time. And so at this point, because of all the radio and radio comedy he'd listened to, because he could sing, he could dance, he could do it all, he paired up with another guy. They got a couple of ukuleles, and they began singing and telling jokes. Also, during his backstage job, he began practicing on the drums, and apparently he was an amazing drummer. He was so good at extemporaneous jazz that he couldn't really play jazz. If you've ever heard jazz drumming, he was so out there, even the jazz people were going, I don't know. In 1943, in September of that year, he joined the Royal Air Force, and he really did want to be a pilot, but he had bad eyesight. So they said, forget that. You can't be a pilot. You can't do it. So he was on the ground crew in several different roles, but he joined what would be probably for us in the U.S., the USO, that entertainment group that's also affiliated with the armed services. Well, he joined something like that when he was in the RAF, and it was a thing called the Gang Show. And he was in that, and he toured Ceylon and Burma and served in Germany and France as well. He was one of the best performers ever, according to, his fellow soldiers. And his ability to impersonate the officers was apparently amazing. Now, I know some people are going to be really, really excited about this next part. But before we get to it, there are just a few remarks here. We all need a Cato in life. Yes, we do. And yes, Terry Nee, it was a gypsy family moving around everywhere. Doc Torn says, So he was listening to the early Tom Gully radio show in the 40s. How dare you? How dare you? My show had been well underway by the 40s. The Goon Show. It's not what you think. It's not gooning in any respect. At any rate, he did those military shows, and he was posted back in England. He'd been working in the Air Ministry, which was the demobilization of all the World War II various military apparatus. And he started back into the theater, but he could only get sporadic work. He was actually bounced after one performance of a comedy routine in Petersborough. But the very famous Welsh vocalist Dorothy Squires persuaded the management to reinstate him. He continued his drumming and was billed as Britain's answer to Gene Krupa. In March of 1948, he got this big 6-week run at the Windmill Theatre in London, which predominantly had stage review acts. And he wrote to the BBC in 1948 and was subsequently auditioned. And as a result, he made his television debut on the 18th of March in 1948. And his act was basically impressions. It was very well received, and he returned the following week. He was frustrated, though, at the slow pace of his career, so he telephoned BBC radio producer Roy Spear, pretending to be a really big star. And Spear called Sellers a cheeky young sod for his efforts, but gave him an audition, and that earned him appearances on other shows. Okay, by October of 1948, just about a month later, Sellers was a regular radio performer, performing on Starlight Hour, The Gang Show, Henry Hall's Guest Night, and It's Fine to Be Young. But let's just fast forward. This is a personal thing. In 1949, Sellers started to date Anne Howe. Anne Howe. I know it sounds funny, doesn't it? Anne Howe. She was an Australian actress who lived in London. He proposed to her in April of 1950, and the couple were married in September of 1951. They had a son and a daughter, one in 1954 and 1958, respectively. His introduction to film work came in 1950 when he overdubbed something, but he was working with these guys. The lower left guy is Spike Milligan, I think. Daggone it. Spike Milligan. And on the right, Harry Seacombe. And they were called The Goons. The Goons. And they made a demo tape, and they sent it to the BBC, and they accepted it. And on the 28th of May in 1951, The Goon Show premiered. Actually, against their wishes, it appeared under the name Crazy People. It was later changed to The Goon Show. They really just wanted to be The Goons. And it was a comedy show, and it was brilliant comedy. This is where Peter Sellers first became famous, with The Goons. Okay? He appeared on every single episode of this program, which ran for 10 years, actually close to 10 years, 9 years. And he played 4 major characters: Major Bloodknock, Hercules Grip Pipe Thin, Blue Bottle, and Henry Crumb, and 17 minor roles on this radio program. Starting with 370,000 listeners, the show eventually reached about 7 million people in Great Britain, and was described by one newspaper as probably the most influential comedy show of all time. And, it really launched him into stardom. The Goon Show did this. And I know there's probably some people listening laughing, The Goons actually were so popular that they began making feature films. They got to write them, in some case directing parts of them. And so these guys not only continued the Goon Show, they also performed together in like regular movies that had nothing to do with the Goon Show. So he's starting to appear in movies, across from really famous actors like Donald Pleasance, and he starts pursuing a film career. All right, and he had a number of small roles in movies, like John and Julie. The Ealing Studios was a big studio over in England, and he was in The Lady Killers. And he started opposite his idol. He idolized Alec Guinness. In addition to Herbert Lom. Herbert Lom, if you watch those Pink Panther movies, was the detective that was always frustrated by Inspector Clouseau. So from an early point in his career, he was already working with that guy. The Lady Killers was a huge hit in the UK and the US, nominated for an Academy Award, Best Original Screenplay. The following year, he appeared in 3 more Goon-based TV series. And in 1957, he was cast in a movie, and this is what's going to start defining his career. He was cast in a movie when he was 32 years of age, playing a 68-year-old man. And that starts to define Peter Sellers a little bit. He could take on any role and become that character. Become that character to a point many people don't think it was exactly healthy. I'm going to tell you about a documentary called, and I'm highly recommending it right here, called The Ghost of Peter Sellers. That is about a movie that was made by a very, very, very early project by a young director. And it is a wild ride. He was not, especially at a certain point in his career, easy to deal with. Not because he was a jerk. It was because, well, sometimes it was because he was a jerk. He was very committed to excellence. But a lot of the time it was because he turned into these characters. And it was just impossible to deal with in these farcical comedies. So that movie was called The Smallest Show on Earth. And he had a lot of difficulties getting this film career to take off because he was kind of playing bit parts. And he starts seeing an astrologer, who also had a lot of influence on him throughout his career. So that ought to tell you something. I tell you, And so people within the film community and within the entertainment community at large started to realize what a genius this guy was. And people started writing things especially for him. He would practice his voice over and over on a reel-to-reel tape recorder so that all the voices, all the characters he would do would not sound like each other. He released an album of his sketches in 1958 called The Best of Sellers, which is just, a showpiece of everything. But next to The Lady Killers, the movie that really kind of put him out there was called I'm All Right, Jack, which was the top British grossing film of 1960. And he played a guy named Fred Kite. It earned him a BAFTA, which is the British equivalent of the Academy Award. He also was in a movie called The Mouse That Roared. I don't know if you are familiar with that. It's kind of a farcical movie about a small country that gets a little bit of leverage amongst the superpowers. And he plays 3 distinct roles in the movie, okay? So the movie was heavily praised by critics, and that's the thing you're going to notice about Peter Sellers. He played movie roles where he played 7 people in the movie. And if you knew that, you could tell. But if you didn't know that, it was far more difficult to tell that he was doing this. After he completed I'm All Right, Jack, the number one grossing box office hit in Great Britain in 1960, he did some more goon stuff. As I kind of go through his career, I'm only hitting on the highlights. He was doing other things all the time. He played an Indian doctor, Dr. Ahmed El Kabir, in the romantic comedy The Millionaires, based on the George Bernard Shaw play of the same name. And he didn't really want to do this until he learned Sophia Loren, the bombshell from Italy, would be his co-star. Gets better. Hold on. They developed a close relationship during filming, which culminated with Peter Sellers declaring his love for Sophia Loren right in front of his wife. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. There's a lot of uncertainty whether this relationship was platonic. A lot of people consider it an affair. Some others think it was just a small friendship, but his wife at the time, Anne Howe, commented, I don't know to this day whether he had an affair with her. Nobody does. So that is Peter Sellers, this crazy personal life. One of his friends observed that he immersed himself in the characters he played. And there's method actors out there, but Peter Sellers was like 10 times beyond what a character actor would do. He became them so much that it was like unhealthy. He would play a role as an Indian doctor, and for the next 6 months, he would do the things that an Indian doctor would do all day long. Like he'd put on the jacket and the stethoscope, go to an office, walk around. He'd really do it. Not just up here, but in real life. So, yeah. He made his directorial debut in 1961. There's some really great movies. Only Two Can Play is a great movie. He won the BAFTA for Waltz of the Toreadors, and some of these movies are very well known in England, not as well known here. Stanley Kubrick asked Sellers to play the role of Claire Quilty in the movie Lolita, opposite James Mason and Shelley Winters. Kubrick had seen him in The Battle of the Sexes and listened to The Best of Sellers, that famous comedy album, and was impressed by the range of characters that he could play. So let me get some of your comments read, and we'll pick up our story because it gets wilder as it goes along. Trenchcoat said, I know the Goon Show was a big influence on Monty Python, a huge influence. All the Pythons have said this. John Cleese very frequently said the Goon Show was our big inspiration. Doc Torn says, reckon the Goons was any kind of inspiration for the Goonies? No, I don't think so. Probably not. Maybe, but I doubt it. Rumple Trenchcoat says, The Ladies Killers is one of my favorite movies, and it was interesting to see Sellers and Lemme together long before the Pink Panther series. Yeah, a lot of people point to that and go, wow, these guys have known each other for a long time. Stella is here. She says H2BH. H2BH right back at you. Stella? So now it's 1962. And his behavior toward his family, remember, he's got a son and a daughter. It's getting worse all the time. Sellers asked his kids, who do you love more, me or your mother? And the daughter, to keep the peace, says, I love you both equally. And the son said, no, I love my mom. And this prompted Sellers to throw both children out, saying he never wanted to see him again. At the end of 1962, his marriage to Anne Howe broke down, and in 1963, after starring as the gang leader Pearlie Gates in The Wrong Arm of the Law, his father died. And he decided to leave England. And when he did, and this is huge, when he did, he was approached by a gentleman by the name of Blake Edwards to be in a little movie called The Pink Panther. Blake Edwards offering him the role of Inspector Clouseau. Blake Edwards was a major radio writer and producer and director in the United States before going into film directing. And after Peter Ustinov said, "I don't want to be Inspector Clouseau," Peter Sellers accepted the role. He was paid about what in today's money would be £900,000 to appear in it for 5 weeks worth of work on location in Rome. And David Niven, of course, starring in the main portion of the movie. But Peter Sellers was just revered after this. His performance was equated to Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton. It was released in January of 1964. But Peter Sellers got a nomination for Golden Globe for Best Actor Motion Picture at the Golden Globes, and for Best British Actor at the British Academy of Film Awards. And he's hot as, the Wolf would say, hot as a stick of dynamite. We'll just put Inspector Clouseau back up there again. However, let me tell you, Peter Sellers was smoking hot as a property in Hollywood now. And in 1963, Stanley Kubrick cast Peter Sellers to appear in Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. You know, next to George C. Scott, Sterling Hayden, Keenan Wynn, Slim Pickens. And Peter Sellers and Stanley Kubrick got along famously. They're both photographers and like photography. But not everybody got along with Stanley Kubrick or Peter Sellers. So the notion that those two hit it off so fabulously is pretty incredible. Kubrick asked Peter Sellers to play 4 roles: the U.S. President, Dr. Strangelove, Air Force Major King Kong, Group Captain Lionel Mandrake of the RAF. And he was not all that excited about playing 4 different characters at first, but Stanley Kubrick's like, "You got this." He later commented that the idea of having Sellers play in so many of the film's key roles was that everywhere you turn, there's some version of Peter Sellers holding the fate of the world in his hands. He didn't think, Peter Sellers, that he could do the Texan accent. So he asked one of the screenwriters to record his own voice and was able to mimic it that way. The very first day of shooting, he sprained his ankle while leaving a restaurant and couldn't work in the cramped cockpit of one of the sets. And that's when Slim Pickens was recast as King Kong. But the 3 roles he did play were very, very distinct. And for his performance, he was nominated for a Best Actor Academy Award and the Best Actor at the British Film Awards, British Academy Film Awards, excuse me. And between November of 63 and February of 64, he began filming a Shot in the Dark, which is another Clouseau movie. But this one had Herbert Lom as Commissioner Dreyfus and Bert Kwok as Kato. And Sellers' relationship with Blake Edwards at this point became very, very bad. They would stop speaking to each other during filming, and they would communicate by passing notes to each other. Peter Sellers' personality was described as difficult, demanding, often clashing with fellow actors. But he got the job done on camera. You know, it's like, well, he's difficult to work with, but he gets it done on camera. So I knew this was going to come up. Did somebody say Goon? Yes, the Goon Show. Juju the Cow is here saying, Nick is here. Nick says, goons mentioned. Yes, that did happen. Julian Caesars, that's a neatly pressed trench coat. Isn't it, though? It's very neatly pressed, which is funny, and it's funny. A Shot in the Dark is by far the best of the Pink Panther movies. I would tend to agree with you. And by the way, just as a reminder for those of you who weren't here at the top of the show, please like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all those free things. They don't cost you a penny, not a farthing, to help us out, especially with the algorithm, the almighty, all-powerful, all-seeing algorithm. Plus, we do have super chats and memberships, which we highly appreciate because Daddy needs a new pair of shoes, but those keep the show going, and they keep me in Mountain Dew Baja Blast Zero, the official drink of the Tom Gully Show, because they label it so you can't tell that it's not Mountain Dew Zero, and then I get home and realize it's Baja Blast, which I do not prefer in relation to the regular. Look at this. It's like they hide it, like they're trying to hide it. They put it down here. See how they're trying to hide it? Anyway. And turn on those gifted memberships. You could get one for free. And then you get exclusive members-only content like me talking about... my podcasts have these little prequels at the start of them. Now here's some exciting scenes from tonight's episode of the Tom Gully Show. And the best parts of the podcast are right at the start. I'm going to be playing some of those tomorrow. Sorry, Sunday on our members-only show. Rumpled Trenchcoat, so kind, has gifted 5 Tom Gully Show memberships. And by the way, Rumpled Trenchcoat will appear on this program Tuesday night to talk about Columbo along with his sister at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we cannot wait. Whatever this... it's just an announcement, I guess. The Wolf says, hello, Dupa Coat, Doc, Terry, Stanley. And by the way, the most cheerful chat room on the internet is verified by independent sources. Good to see the Wolf in town. People saying hi. People expressing their orientation. Is that the radio shaman? Is that the real radio? Hey, I don't think that. Hey. Anyway, people saying hi. And another person letting us know their orientation. That's Alex Stein. Alexis Stein. I don't know. We'll know if his grandma gets crazy outside of high school. Jared says, up fingers now. Up fingers now. Pow, 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 pow. Anyway. Back to our story. In early 1964, Bagang, Peter Sellers meets Britt Eklund, the very attractive Britt Eklund. Papa Mau Mau, yeah. An actress who was shooting a film in London, and just 10 days after their first meeting, they got married. 10 days. 10 days. But this isn't necessarily a good thing, because Peter Sellers was super insecure, super paranoid, super jealous, especially when she was starring opposite attractive leading men, which she always was because she's smoking hot. So anyway, right after the wedding, he signed up to do a movie called Kiss Me Stupid with Dean Martin and Kim Novak, but the movie was directed by a legendary director named Billy Wilder, and they didn't like each other, Billy Wilder and Peter Sellers. And this is leading me up to another bad thing about Peter Sellers' life. The relationship between Billy Wilder, on the April 5th of 1964, right before he had sex with his smoking hot babe there, Britt Eklund, he inhaled some poppers, some amyl nitrate, as a sexual stimulant in his search for the ultimate, oh yeah. And I say, oh yeah, in place of another word that begins with O. You know what I'm saying? Do I have to draw you a picture? I mean, you don't have to be Fellini to figure out. Anyway, and guess what? He suffered 8 heart attacks. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, but 8 heart attacks in a 3-hour period. And of course, that made him have to stop making the movie. Billy Wilder, who did not like Peter Sellers, if you recall, said, I'm unsympathetic. You have to have a heart before you can have a heart attack. So he recovers and starts doing other movies and things. He starts becoming concerned that his heart attacks may have caused brain damage and he wouldn't be able to remember lines, but he started memorizing them and that went away. He was a perverted Austrian psychoanalyst in Clive Donner's What's New, Pussycat, a guy named Dr. Fritz Fassbinder, which was a big hit, you know. A big hit. So, by the way, that was the first writing and acting credit for Woody Allen. At any rate, in 1965, Peter Sellers and this lady right here, Britt Ekland, announced the birth of their daughter, Victoria. And they moved to Rome because Peter Sellers was going to act in a movie called After the Fox. And this is the way he looked in After the Fox. That's a production still from After the Fox. It was really After the Fox. The film was directed by another great legendary director, and it seems like that's all he was paired up with, Vittorio De Sica, who's not great at speaking English, and Sellers didn't like that and tried to have him fired, which can create tension on set. And his wife was also supposed to be in this movie, Britt Ekland. And Sellers was so unpleased with his wife's performance that it really affected their relationship, and they would just openly argue in front of everyone, with Peter Sellers throwing a chair at her one time in front of the cast. But they had a great script, and they got through it. He then was in Casino Royale. He made $1 million on that, which is like $9 million today. It was a chaotic film. 7 screenwriters worked on it. To make matters worse, he was own secure. He wouldn't trust anyone. And so Orson Welles, who was in the movie, and Peter Sellers began to hate each other. And Peter Sellers said he wouldn't be on the set if Orson Welles was. He even left the movie before his part was complete. He just said, forget it, I'm out of here. After that, he was awarded the Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, which is called a CBE. It's very, very, very prestigious over in England. The day before this was supposed to be bestowed on him at Buckingham Palace, he and Britt Ekland argued, and she scratched his face. And so he has to get a makeup artist to cover his face when the Queen, does her thing and bestows him this high praise. During his next film, which is called The Bobo, and again co-starred him with his wife, Britt Ekland, their marriage was just going down the tubes. 3 weeks into the production, he told the director to fire his wife, saying, and I quote, "I'm not coming back after lunch if that bitch is on the set." And she said that their marriage was an atrocious sham by this point. And by the way, in midst of this movie's being filmed, his mother this time has a heart attack. And he was asked if he wanted to visit her in the hospital. He said, no, I'd like to just keep working. And his mom died very shortly thereafter, and he never saw her. He never went and saw her. He was deeply affected by her death, though, and his remorse at not having stopped filming to go see her. And he gets divorce papers served on him right after that by Britt Ekland. So, By the way, Spike Milligan, that comedian that I told you about, that was closely attached to Peter Sellers. Yeah, he sent Britt Eklund a congratulatory note. And that movie, The Bobo, was a major disappointment. It was a major flop. Let's get to a few of your comments before we get back into the story of good old Peter Sellers. Let's see. So many people declaring their orientation here. Apparently Juju the cow likes, I don't know if Juju's a male or a female, so I don't know. Jared says, yeah, we know Juju. Plague Dr. Zach also expressing his orientation. Lisa is here, says Gully Bomb. And it lasted for 10 seconds. Don't know what he's talking about there. Boat's here. He says H2BH, H2BH to you. Boat, always good to see you here. Marie Valenzuela says someone is that way. Doc says being cremated is my last chance at a smoking hot body. Open Church Code's laughing. Dan says, are you upset about the passing of David Lynch? I am. I thought he was a brilliant filmmaker. He was kind of hit or miss, but his movies were weird enough that I liked all of them. Wolf says, one of the Poochie Queens. Who's Sylvia Loren or Britt Eklund? Actually, they both are. I guess that's only one. That's one way of denying his essence, which we're always searching for, is denying his essence. Rumpled Trenchcoat says, ouch, I really don't want someone as clever and funny as Billy Wilder being mad at me. Me neither. Chelino says TGWO, that I believe stands for Tom Gully World Order. Thank you, Chelino. It's very, very nice of you. Doc says, shoot, I can barely speak English too. Don Gupperbach said, this show is advancing the consciousness of our culture, bro. Thank you. I appreciate that. Rumpled Trenchcoat says, my favorite part of After the Fox was when Sellers called a character and went through a complicated plan, but then stopped and said, oh, well, you tell your daddy when he comes home. Have him call me. The Wolf says, he was known for being a great guy. Well, by some people. He was hot and cold. He was very in the brain. But that was part of his ability to play these characters and to just immerse himself in another identity. Chelino says, you should grow out your cop cut and do something a little more stylish, Tommy. That ain't going to happen. Chelino said, can you do a Peter Sellers impression? What would that be? He played so many characters that who are you going to imitate? Who is Peter Sellers? Every role he played, he was different. In the garden, when things are good, all is well in the garden. There you go. That's the thing. I don't know what this means. No idea. Absolutely no idea. Just don't know. I mean, I saw it there and I thought, I don't really have to show this. But then I thought, oh, all right, this person obviously needs some attention. So, let's see. Doc says, and Nita going to get booted. Well, you should be. You should be, but I'm going to give him a pass because he doesn't seem lucid. See, you did it. Nice. That's as close as you're going to get. In 1968, he reunited with Blake Edwards for sort of a fish out of water comedy called The Party. He basically played a guest at the party that shouldn't have been there. All right. And that's another thing about Peter Sellers. He many times played a fish out of water, someone in an environment that they normally wouldn't be in. And my personal opinion is his greatest achievement was definitely Fish Out of Water. He did a movie that I'm going to stop down for a little bit. It's what I would call a smaller film. It was called I Love You, Alice B. Toklas, who was, Alice B. Toklas was the girlfriend of Gertrude Stein and also a noted marijuana user. And he played an attorney, a super uptight attorney who meets this hippie girl, starts getting into pot, and completely abandons his lifestyle to become a hippie. So while the film wasn't a huge commercial success, it was critically acclaimed, and it was Peter Sellers doing what Peter Sellers does. He was opposite Ringo Starr in a movie in 1969. That was another thing about Peter Sellers. He was not afraid to just join these troupes or these movies or these things because of his background, with his parents on being on stage. Group Captain Mandrake, yes. He was in Where Does It Hurt in 1972, Ghost in the Noonday Sun, 1974, and Ghost in the Noonday Sun. Let me pause for this one. That's the movie that the documentary, The Ghost of Peter Sellers, is made about. Peter Medak's. And Peter Medak, by the way, directed the movie and the documentary. Medak is M-E-D-A-K. And I think that documentary is readily available on the free streaming channels. You need to watch that because it gives the full, wild, weird, uncontrolled, and I mean bizarre behavior of Peter Sellers. Totally bizarre. So please watch The Ghost of Peter Sellers. And it's a great documentary. The guy who made it is the guy that made the film, and the documentary is wonderful. It's wonderful. I'm telling you what, the things he would require, and wow. And that movie didn't do well. Where Does It Hurt didn't do well, but he still won some big awards. Spike Milligan says that the early 70s were a period of indifference for Peter Sellers. He'd been seeing this really young lady named Miranda Quarry. She was 23 years old, and she was like a socialite and a fashion model. Some have called her a hot piece of tail, whatever. They got married in 1970, despite his doubts about remarrying. So he joined up with Spike Milligan and Harry Seacombe again to record The Last Goon Show of All. Hey there. Happy to be here. Which was broadcast on the 5th of October in May of 1973, with his marriage to this 23-year-old British socialite failing. He went to the theater one night to see Liza Minnelli perform, and they got engaged. Yeah. 3 days later, Caesar performed. 3 days later, they got engaged. And you're like, what's wrong with that, Tom? People fall in love, people do that. And my response to that is very clearly, she was married to Desi Arnaz Jr. at the time, and he was married to this British socialite at the time. But they didn't care. They were two crazy kids in love until a month later when they broke up. All of his friends thought he was having a nervous breakdown and thought he was deeply troubled. He was shy and he was insecure, went out of character. So like when someone asked me to imitate him, when he wasn't in character or promoting a movie or doing some entertainment thing, he was almost non-communicative. He was just wouldn't talk. He was supposed to be on the Johnny Carson of Great Britain, a guy named Michael Parkinson, and he backed out of it the day before, explaining, I just can't walk on as myself. I don't have anything to say as myself. And they told him that he could come on as someone else, so he showed up dressed as a member of the Gestapo. Yeah. After a few lines that a Gestapo member might make, he settled down and was sort of himself. But this is also when he was claiming to have communicated with long dead British entertainers because of his thing with the occult and all that. kind of crazy. His career's not doing great, but he teams up again with Blake Edwards to make the return of the Pink Panther with Christopher Plummer and Herbert Lom, as always, and Catherine Schell. It was shot on a budget of about £3 million and made $33 million at the box office, and that kind of catapulted him back to A-list status. He got a Best Actor Musical Comedy Award at the 33rd Golden Globes, and he followed it up with Pink Panther Strikes Again. And that already very tense relationship with director Blake Edwards had seriously deteriorated. Edwards says of his mental state during that time, if you went into an asylum and you described the first inmate you saw, that's what Peter Sellers had become. He was certifiable. His health is declining, unbearable on the set, unprofessional, childish, and frequently through tantrums, threatening to just walk off and leave. But despite all this, the Pink Panther Strikes Again was critically well received. So he got another nomination at the Golden Globes. So now he is dating this actress by the name of Lynn Frederick. She was an actress and model, which means she's a model that they let have a few lines once in a while. Very attractive. Very, very attractive. I say unto thee, it's a very attractive lady. Yes, I'm just going to put another picture of him up here because this is about that time-ish, I guess. So, this Lynn Frederick, she was the wife that he treated the worst of any of them. I mean, just really was awful to her. And he suffers a major heart attack, another one, flying from Paris to London, got a pacemaker put in, and as soon as he was better, he did Revenge of the Pink Panther, although while it was a huge commercial success, the critics were getting a little bit tired of Inspector Clouseau and the strain of behind-the-scenes lifestyle and stuff had started to creep up on him. He basically was tired of playing Inspector Clouseau. He's like, I can't do it anymore. There's no more left in the tank. And he would claim that he had no personality and was almost unnoticeable, which meant that he needed a strongly defined character to play. And he would say this all over the place. Every interview he did, he'd said it on The Muppet Show, which earned him an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Continuing or Single Performance by a Supporting Actor in a Variety or Musical. And he chose not to appear as himself on The Muppet Show, instead appearing in a variety of costumes and accents. When Kermit the Frog told Sellers he could relax and be himself, Sellers replied, "Oh, but that, you see, my dear Kermit, would be altogether impossible. I could never be myself. You see, there is no me. I do not exist. There used to be a me, but I had it surgically removed." So there you go. In 1979, he starred along that Lynn Frederick, his wife, and Lionel Jeffries and Elka Summer in The Prisoner of Zenda, where he again played 3 different roles. And the movie was very well received. I've seen it. It's a good movie. In 1979, later that year, Peter Sellers starred alongside Shirley MacLaine, Melvin Douglas, and Jack Warden in the black comedy Being There as Chance, simple-minded gardener, addicted to watching the TV, who is regarded as a genius by the rich and powerful. If you have never seen Being There, you need to go to whatever streaming service you hold dear, and you need to watch Being There. It is a masterful performance. It is a brilliant script. It's one of the very best movies that's ever been made in terms of things that aren't epics or blockbusters and whatnot, you know. And Sellers is actually the one who persuaded the author of the book that it's based on, Jerzy Kosinski, to allow it to be made. While filming, in order to remain in character, Peter Sellers refused all interview requests and would not get near the other actors. Okay, wouldn't even talk to them. And in preparing for the role, he had a tape recorder and wanted to perfect the sort of enunciation, very flat delivery that he used in the film. I'm not going to get anything else I say about this movie will probably be a spoiler. I don't want to spoil it for you, but he got a Best Actor award at the National Board of Review Awards, the London Critics Circle Film Awards, Special Achievement Award, Best Actor at the 45th New York Film Critics Circle Awards, Best Actor, 37th Golden Globe Awards, nominated for Best Actor at the Academy Awards, Best Actor in Leading Role at the British Academy Film Awards. And I think he did win for being there. Daggone it. Hold on, I'll find out for you. He should have if he didn't. Being there. No, he did not. Well, that is a crime. Probably some dummy one for some dumb thing that was dumb. It was probably super dumb. Anyway, critically acclaimed. In March of 1980, Sellers asked his 15-year-old daughter, Victoria, what she thought about the movie Being There. She reported that, I said, yes, I thought it was great. But then I said, you looked like a little old fat man. And he went crazy, and he threw his drink at her and told her to get the next plane home. His other daughter, Sarah, told her that for doing that to her sister, she wasn't happy. And he sent her a telegram that said, after what happened this morning with Victoria, I shall be happy if I never hear from you again. I won't tell you what I think of you. It must be obvious. Goodbye, your father. Damn. His last movie was The Fiendish Plot of Dr. Fu Manchu, comedic sort of take on Fu Manchu. He played two roles along Helen Mirren. God, can't get me enough Helen Mirren. And it was a troubled production. Two directors fired before the script had been completed. Sellers wasn't happy with his own portrayal. His health was bad again, and fired a third director, and then Sellers took over directing. So yeah, it's what has been called a colossally ill-advised washout of a movie. His final performances, though, were some ads for Barclays Bank and a few other smaller things. But on July 21st, 1980, he, arrived in London from Geneva. He checked into the Dorchester Hotel before visiting the Golders Green Crematorium for the first time to see the location of his parents' ashes. He'd planned to attend a reunion dinner with his goon show partners, Spike Milligan and Henry Seacombe, scheduled for the evening of the 22nd of July. But on the day of the dinner, he took lunch in his hotel suite and afterwards collapsed from a heart attack. He was taken to the Middlesex Hospital in London and died just after midnight on July 24th, 1980, at the age of only 54 years old. 54 years old, which I would have assumed he was much older because he did so much and was such a ubiquitous presence on television and in the movies when I was growing up. But yes, he was only 54 years old. Sir Richard Attenborough said that he was a genius comparable to Chaplin. Blake Edwards said that he was brilliant. Spike Milligan was too upset to speak to the press at the time of his death, while Henry Seacombe said, I'm shattered. He was a tremendous artist. A private funeral was held at Golders Green Crematorium, where he'd just been the day or two before. And Sellers' final joke, and he had this written into his will, was the playing of In the Mood by Glenn Miller, a tune that all of the goons hated. And he knew they would have to sit in silence and listen to it over and over and over again. By the way, the eulogy was read by David Niven. Although Sellers was reportedly in the process of excluding his wife, Lynn Frederick, from his will before he died, she inherited almost his entire estate, worth an estimated what would be worth 24 million pounds today. His children received 800 pounds each, which is 4,000 pounds in today's money. Spike Milligan appealed to her on behalf of the Sellers' 3 children, but Lynn Frederick refused to increase the amount. Sellers' only son, Michael, died of a heart attack at 52 during surgery, 26 years to the day after his father's death. There's a lot of other things I could say, but we've gone on for an hour. You've got comments, and that's all I got to tell you about Peter Sellers. Like, share, subscribe, retweet. Notification bell. Help us with the algorithm, the almighty algorithm. We will be opening up the phone lines. Also, we have super chats and memberships. Many of you have been kind enough to take advantage of one, if not both of those things, and we so appreciate you for it. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Tomorrow, we don't have anything, but Sunday, members only show. If you turn on your gifted memberships, somebody may gift you one. Just saying. It could happen. Stranger things could happen. Let's see. Chelino says, Hi Averbeck directed that movie. He was underrated, in my opinion. Hi Averbeck, really underrated. Really underrated. The Wolf says several BBC interviews that were very strange. Wolf, I don't know if you want to be using BBC in a sentence, considering who you are, but that's you do you. Just kidding. Chelino says Sellers would hop on BBC whenever. You guys. Liza who? Liza with a Z, not Lisa with an S. Anyway. What good is sitting alone in a room? The Wolf says he was the mouse that roared. He certainly was. Chelino says, Tom, you should do a radio cut on GTA 6. Tom, I have a guy that can make it happen. Let me know. Just have your people call my people. I've been on lots of video games. In one of the cars on Grand Theft Auto, you should be able to turn my show on the radio. Whoops-a-daisy. I think that'd be awesome. Sacre bleu. C'est la Pink Panther, says Mad Ham Operator KD1XX. Ham Operator from now on. The Wolf says, that sounds like a case of dementia. He was just built different. Dupa says, Tom the Gardener. Did you like that? Tom the Gardener, in the garden I like to watch. Gardener, yep, that's me. Did I do Gardner or Garden? Yeah, I did Gardner. I did the Trevor Garner for some reason. James never mind. Being There was such a good movie, says Rumpel Treadcoat. I know, it's just a piece of genius. Doc Torn says, everybody stop watching so Tom can spoil it for me. Charlie Sellers named Charlene Byers. I was just kidding. That's actually a pretty good reduction there. Dupa says, now I'm going to have In the Mood running through my head all night. Na, 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 na. Let me open up the phone lines. I'm not going to keep them open too long because I'm starving. It's Friday night. You got things to do. I got things to do. And let me tell you something. Grandpa gets tired on Friday night by that time. Grandpa's been up all week. Grandpa's had a rough week. A really rough week. So, need to do the old 22 skidoo out of here. And let you guys get to your thing. Sunday, I'm going to say, let's just go ahead and say, what is it? Noon Eastern on Sunday. We will do a members only show. How about that? How about that? Doc Torn is laughing. Yeah, and I'll just pick out some of the better highlights from the echelons of the Tom Gully Show podcast. I can't believe I didn't spell that right. Maybe that's how you spell it. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Let me see if I can fix this. General. Dang it. That's a bunch of hooey that I can't change that now. Now that I'm in the show, I can't change it. Well, it's just going to be mentioned. So don't mention and baby back ribs. I want my baby back. And you're going to mention them now. It's not that long before I'm done here. So, yeah. Ain't that long. Hey, it ain't going to be that long till I'm done here. Phone lines are open at 972-994-6822. If you want to give a call, say horrible things to me, go right ahead. What do I care? It's not the first time. It won't be the last. Oh, we've got an anonymous call. First call screws up sometimes, not always. Let's see. Let's see, shall we? Let's just see, shall we? Hi, and welcome to the Tom Gully Show. You're on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, Tom. Do you think the comments should face the other way?
It's a face. It's a fake voice, and you didn't tell me who was speaking. If you'd like to call back in, don't do a fake voice. And these rules are not brand new. These rules have been in effect forever. There's people in this room that can tell you these rules have been in effect. When I say, who am I speaking with, you have to tell me not your real name, but you have to come up with some name. You can't just bulldozer through the thing. Hi, and welcome to the Tom Gully Show. Relax. You don't have to bulldozer through it. Who am I speaking with?
Hello, Tom.
It's a fake voice. Come on, man.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. I said, who am I speaking with? You gotta tell me. You can say Skippy O'Herlihy. You don't have to give me a real name, but you gotta give me a name, man. These rules, there are people who, it's been Anyway, or barbecue of any kind. Barbecue, good. Hey, John's with us from over in County Cork, I think. Just tuned in. I love Peter Sellers in the party. Every time I hear Birdie Num Num, it cracks me up. That's the one where he plays. Okay, let's see if we can get this going. Hi, and welcome to the Tom Gully Show. Just take your time and relax. Don't have, now see, that's one of the things. We don't like a lot of, nobody wants to hear your phlegm noises. Okay? So, who am I speaking with?
Well, this is Cletus.
Now, that's fine. Cletus is fine. But your fake voice is so bad. You know?
No, it ain't.
Yes.
I promise you, this is the way I talk, sir.
No, it's not.
What are you even talking about right now?
It definitively is not the way that you talk.
Well, the U.S. Army says I can't join it because of this voice.
Why would the Army say you can't join it because of a voice?
Because I could just never give the commands right, sir.
Well, you don't have to give. You don't have
Third
to.
Infantry.
You don't have to give commands to be in the military.
Well, that's not what I was told.
Well, that's just a matter of fact. There's things called privates and They don't give commands. They take commands.
Keep it clean.
I am keeping it clean. What do you have for us this evening? What burning issue did you call about?
Well, I feel the comma should be facing the other way.
The what should be facing the other way?
The comma.
The comma. Just
Yeah.
in general, or is there a specific
Yeah,
comma that...
Yeah, it's facing the wrong way.
Okay. Well, you know, can you just pretend?
If you go back to the Babylonian times, it was facing right.
No.
And then,
Babylonians didn't have commas.
hold on now. I catch my breath now. Whew.
Yeah.
And then they just switched it around. And I
I
don't like it.
understand. You know what? I'm seeing in the chat a lot of people agree with you, and we'll get that taken care of as soon as we can. Hope you have a great weekend, sir. Cletus. Bye-bye.
I am.
Anyway, let's see here. Doc says that's what she said. See, Gilman says, well, Jerry... Hey, Jerry, will Deion Sanders be the next head coach of the Cowboys? Well, we're going to take a look at a lot of various different, what we like to call team leaders. And the one that is the best for the Dallas Cowboy organization, the one that we will pick. Deion, of course, has had great success at mediocrity in the college ranks. So I think he'd bring a tremendous spirit to the world we live in today. Sports. Anyway. Dupa says, that voice was so silly, it was kind of funny. Some of them are, a little bit. Some of them aren't. Look, I probably have a higher standard than most people for fake voices. And I think I was pretty good with that last one. I think in my evolution... I might be expecting too much, and I think on that last one I was pretty good about what I would call an average at best voice. At best. Marble Trenchcoat says, really makes you appreciate how good Peter Sellers was at voices. Rumble Trenchcoat will be on this program on Tuesday, January the 21st, this upcoming Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. You should go to the Tom Gully Show and hit that notification button so that you will be here when that happens. Let's see here. Doopa-doopa-doo. This guy has a burner phone. He might. It's anonymous. You can anonymously call into this show with star 69 or 7 or something like that. Hi, and welcome to the Tom Gully Show. Relax. Take it easy. Who am I speaking with?
Ricardo Montalban.
Man, look, I
have rich Corinthian leather.
Yeah, I know. I know. You like what
and
they've
I'll welcome you into my
You don't get to
fantasy.
talk over me. Sorry, you can't talk over me. I was gonna let you do your whole shtick. I like what they've done to my car. Now, see, that is Ricardo Montalban. What you were doing, I don't know what it was. Rich Corinthian leather, opera windows. I was alive for that. Rich Corinthian leather, fancy name for basically cardboard with leather painted on the outside of it. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Rumpled really makes you appreciate anyone who could do a good voice. Doc says, a burner phone that's smarter than him. Let's see here. Chilino's laughing at the bout. I don't know what that means. Rumpled Trenchcoat says, for sure, Dupa. The Wolf says, when you go back in the days of the Greeks and the Romans, it was just considered good manners to offer a guest a massage. Rumpled Trenchcoat says, I think Dupa meant he should burn his phone. Well, that would work too. Doc says, well, brother and sister both have trench coats. Well, you'll have to ask Rumpled. Rumpled, do you own a trench coat? Dupa says, laughing at Rumpled, which it is really funny. Little upset my Ricardo Montalban didn't get more fervent praise from the room, but that's fine. I like what they've done to my car. Attend the Ricardo Montalban, the Ricardo Montalban School of Fine Acting. I am Ricardo Montalban, star of stage, screen, and television. Anyway. Better than his. Better than his. Can't talk over me. I don't allow it. Gilman says Kirk. You don't want me to do Kirk, do you? I do the same Kirk everybody else does. There's no reason you know. It's just it's a timing thing. I can't be responsible if it's the one that Kevin Pollak does, and then everybody else does. Plus, I've actually met and interviewed William Shatner, and I wouldn't do that to my boy, to my man. Doc is onto something here. Doc, wow, that was scary, but not in a bad way. Man, what's with the breathing? Do you got COVID or something? Hi, and welcome to the Tom Gully Show. What? There's another one. I'm not doing that. If Dupa could call in, boy, that'd be a ratings bonanza. Rating bonanza. Let's see here. I used to make fun of my salesmate who owned a Volare. Hi, and welcome to the Tom Gully Show. You are on the air. Take it easy, relax. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, Tom. This is Mort.
And it's Mindy.
Oh, this is Mort and Mindy. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
That's great to hear.
Yes, it is.
We're really excited to talk to you.
I'm sure we are.
What are you doing?
I'm doing a radio show.
Are you playing Dungeons and Dragons? Because that's my favorite game.
What's your favorite orange color?
My favorite what color?
What's your favorite color of orange?
I would say
Is it tangerine?
No,
that's you, buddy.
Hey, mandarin orange.
They're kind of soggy, don't you think?
Well,
they're a little soggy.
You're asking about the color, not the fruit itself.
But now I'm talking about the fruit.
Well, now I'll answer what my favorite orange fruit is. That's two different questions, you see.
Well, I didn't ask a question.
15 minutes ago question. The now question is, what is today's topic? Mindy, go ahead.
Sour cream.
Exactly. Do you like it on a taco or do you like it on a burrito?
Now,
this is the way. In right now. Hit them up.
This is the way you call in. The voices are good. The bit's good. It's wonderful. Very much enjoying this.
We're very weird.
Hey, get out of here, Mindy Jr.
Yes.
Can you hear Mindy do what? I can't. I'm having difficulty understanding you. Number one, Mort has got a little too much slobber in his speech, and the other one just got cut off. So, hello.
They are my parents.
I made out. They are my parents. Is that what you said? I can't.
No, I like Paris. Paris.
Oh, you like
Paris, France.
Paris, France. Well, yes, a lot of people like that.
I hear they have great oranges.
I haven't heard that, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, my friend told me that they went to Paris and they got some really good oranges while they were there.
That's not true, Mindy, because they don't sell them there.
No.
And it's only because of the homeless person selling you a rotten tomato. That's because you don't even know what orange looks like.
How do you two know each other?
Listen to me, buddy. You don't need to get into that right now. We play Dungeons and Dragons together every Saturday night. It's merely friends.
It's platonic.
Just friends.
Just friends. Are you the kind of friends that have hot, sweaty Dungeons and Dragons roll the dice
listen
sex?
to me, Mark. Hey, you listen to me. No, only if the heater's broken. Only if the heater's broken.
If the heater's broken, though.
Yeah, but the heater was broken.
If the heater's broken, though.
It was broken.
Yeah.
And then we forgot to turn the air conditioner on.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
So how many times have you intentionally broken the heater so you can get some of that hot, sweaty, Mindy?
I don't want to hear about that right now.
Okay.
I'll roll a dice, okay? And if it's a 17-sided dice, then you win. If it's a 4-sided dice, I lose.
I don't think there's anything. Is it possible to have a 4-sided dice? Yes, it is. I just remembered it is.
Sure.
It is. Yeah, it is.
But look at the pyramids, sir. Look at the pyramids, man.
Yeah, but it's not going to be
That's the source.
It's always
it is the source of all that is mysterious in the world right now. I'm telling you.
Okay.
It's the source of evil and also very rich vanilla cream milk that pours out the top sometime if you're not looking.
Okay. Well, do you have anything else for us here this evening, or is that it?
Excuse me. More. If you wanting more.
I couldn't make that out other than, they hung up. All right. See, that's better. Let's see what else we got here. Thank you for calling in, Mort and Mindy. Doc says, God. Wolf says, I second that nomination. Dupa says, what are you doing? Doc says, I'm making a joke. Dupa. Rumpled says, is that Fred and Wendy? Not bad impressions. It doesn't sound like Fred and Wendy. It sounds to me like Gary and Wendy, and not Gary Delabonte, but the other Gary. That's what they sounded like to me, and they were very good. That was actually I think I know who those people are, and I will congratulate them later. Chelino says, say Bukaki. Apparently, you want me to say Bukaki like Tom Brokaw. Apparently, people attending the party had been engaging in Bukaki. Partygoers were known to indulge themselves in the Japanese ritual of Bukaki. Bukaki. That's my Tom Brokaw saying Bukaki. Chelino says, was that Billy West? No, that was not Billy West. Chelino says, bet this guy could do a great Gary the Conqueror. Formerly, yes. He was doing a great Gary. Dupa says, Tom can either win or not lose. That's funny. Tim Jenkins says, who's this genius? I don't know who those people were. They just call into my program. Doc is laughing at Dupa. Rumple Trenchcoat says, either way, that's the way to do a good goofy phone call. You're damn straight. The voices were easily heard, very well modulated, good voices that are fake voices. A really great bit. The bit that they had going at the beginning was the double question, and no matter which one you answered, the other one would say, but I wanted to know. That was good. I was enjoying that. Doc says, well, I nominated Wolf second and the motion carried. What were you voting on? I'm not hip to that rhythm, you know. We got 90 more seconds, and then I'm shutting the lines down, and we're done. I'm almost out of Mountain Dew. Anyway, Peter Sellers, quite a guy. Let me see. I'll get that going. I'll go over here because I've got some people to thank here this evening. And of course, when that happens, that means you're getting the point. That's right, the highest award the Tom Gully Show can bestow, and that is the point. Yes. And the people getting a point this evening are Only Following Cows, who became a YouTube member. Of course, the great Terry Nee, and Terry Nee is getting a double point. That's right, because he followed up that dollar with 5, count 'em 5, gifted Tom Gully Show memberships. If your gifted memberships were turned on, you may have been the benefit of one of them. Doc says, now Tom can afford supper. You know, I don't eat fancy like you do. You know, Doc Tom, all that etouffee, that shrimp etouffee, I got, you know, we don't do it like that here. I'll have a sandwich or something. Well, I think I got some taquitos. I think I made some taquitos. But I'm going to have a lot of them because I'm starving. Tomorrow morning's the grocery run. So, Rumpled Trenchcoat, a Columbo podcast, gifted 5 memberships on his own. And I'd like to point out, Monday night we will be doing a special on Bob Uecker. Bob Uecker, if he were here, would get the point. See, the people that get the point are also people that get the point. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway, Bob Uecker will be the subject of our program Monday night. Tuesday night, though, and a lot of people have been looking forward to this, Rumpled Trenchcoat, a Columbo podcast. The whole team, the guy that we know as Rumpled Trenchcoat, and his sister will be here doing the voodoo they do so well. And I'll be peppering them with questions because salting them with questions does not make any sense. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Dupa, call in. Just Dupa it. And then Dupa, she suddenly becomes, you know, like a chick that doesn't want to like see again on a first date. You're just getting ready to ask her out. Oh my gosh, I see my mom's calling me. Gotta go. I can't top that. Gotta go, guys. Have a great weekend. You too, Dupa. Always great to see you. The wolf says, tiptoe, tiptoe. The wolf is leaving the room. He's headed into the days. I don't know what that means either. Doc says, what does the mountain do? Whatever it wants to. Rumpled Trenchcoat says, have a great weekend, Dupa. Later, Dupa. Doc says, I would turn on my gifted memberships, but I don't have the right mood music. You may not, but you don't need it. You can do it without the music. I have great confidence in you because you're a Cajun. Anyway, every time I go to the Festival of Acadienne, it's 3 solid days of a lot of boudin, a lot of jambalaya, a lot of etouffee, a lot of music, and there's 2 kinds of music. Well, there's the Zydeco, and then there's and then the other kind of music they have is super, super, super old guy. Real slow song, usually with a little squeeze box. I don't know what it's called, concertina or something like that. And it's, and he's up there going, bon, this day, well, ensemble, and all holding, bon, this day, the voice doesn't have to sound good at all. You don't have to be just in the neighborhood of the range. And a lot of times they have a really long, high pitch, a high register. It's wild, man. And that's why Cajuns drink. Anyway. Headed into the days of the Greeks and the Romans, when it was just considered good manners. Mardi Gras is coming up, just saying. Mardi Gras, you know, Fat Tuesday. Anyway, that's all we got, folks, for today. I want to thank everybody coming here, spending their time with us on a Friday night. And man, oh man, what a week. Monday, as I mentioned, Bob Euchre. Tuesday, though, rumpled trench coat, and much more as the week goes along. By the way, I think we might have a Sunday night episode. It's on the 26th. When is the 26th? It's, let's see, 17th is today, so 19, 20, then 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Yeah, it's a Saturday night, I think. And our good friend Scott from Australia will be here to tell us about Australia Day. And he really pretty good at deeply annoying and inflammatory things that he can say and do. So you might like that. It might be a good thing. Occasion for every occasion. Look at that. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. If that's supposed to be an insult, it's not a very good one. Tom, is there a way to get a framed picture of you pointing? That would be excellent guest bathroom art. Yeah, they're all over the internet. John says, have a great night, Tom. Have an awesome weekend. You do the same yourself. And good luck with all those productions. I know you had a lot of productions scheduled up there before COVID hit. So anyway, right? That old clock on the wall says, like the Reverend Al Green, it's time for me to get on up out of here. You do not have to go home, but you can't stay here. And I think the only thing left to say is, till next time, we'll see you next time.
Right out of my pants.